This is going to be a demo on constraints and offsets. We're going to create the same shape, at least something similar to it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, just the same concept when you do this. So I'm already in a sketch, and I'm going to start with a 2-inch circle. Oh, 2-inch radius circle. I'm just going to try and make it the same just to be consistent here. So I start with a circle about 2 inches. And then I'm going to create a circle, I guess about 1 inch diameter maybe. Whoops. And now I'm going to use the offset command. Okay, so you have offset here and you also have offset here. I'm going to use offset. And let's do, I think it was 3. Do an offset, and then I'm going to do 3 and a 1/2 inch apart. I think that's what I did. Alright, now what I'm going to do is highlight this whole thing, and I'm going to do a rotate, and rotate about this center. And what I do, I'm going to do 1 here, and then go to a 90-degree angle, and then I hit 2, and now you see 2 of them appear, and then I'll hit 3, and you'll see a 3rd one. So the most common mistake I see is people go 4, and then what happens is they got another group overlapping this one, and then they can't make their solid. So I'm going to select OK, but what's going to happen is this constraints that I have here are not going to follow. So I'll undo that, and when I go back to offsets, it remembered last time I tried 3, so it kept it there. And I'll select this center point to rotate. I'll move this kind of over here so you can see it. And we're going to change the angle to 90 degrees. And this time I'll do internal and hit OK. And you see it will keep all those dimensions used to create those circles. Now, the part I like about AutoCAD is they had a TTR, tangent radius. I don't have that. I got tritangent. That's not really what I'm looking for. And I'm not looking to create an arc or an ellipse. So tritangent is the one that seems most likely, but it's just not going to work. So I'm going to use a circle and create a circle out here somewhere. And I can move this to try and get a tangent. Okay, but how you really want to do this is select the edges and then set those two curves to be tangent. Now most likely what could happen is this bottom group moves to that circle. Instead I want this circle moving to there. Let's try and do this under tangency. Now see, it just happened to get lucky and that circle moved. And I'll try it again with this curve and this curve. And then dialog box and go tangent. Now see how that top circle moved, and I didn't want that. So one way you can get around that is to take that top circle and anchor it temporarily so it won't move. Now you can barely see it, but there's an anchor over here. Okay, so there's So that's the anchor hiding over there. But with that anchored, when I go to select this curve and this curve with my control button and go to dialog box, I can set tangency, and then that circle will move up there. Now I can take off the fix, select OK, and that fix got removed. So now I just temporarily locked that in place. I'm going to use the quick trim command and select this curve, and I'm going to select on this curve and go to rotate, and I'm going to rotate. It remembers what I used last time, so I use this as my center again for my rotation, and I key in 90-degree angle, and I'll use internal. I don't have, if I had created a radius there, it would know to put in a radius value. I wish I could hit tab or preview or something and see them. I'm going to hit OK and see if it'll do it. Okay. Oh, what happened there? Why is that not tangent? Let's hit undo here. Let's create my radius. Let's go, I don't know, 5 inches. Whoa. I guess what I should have done is create an axis from that center point. Make sure that blue dot highlights so that you know you're going to lock in coincidence. I'll create an axis here and here. And I'm going to use those two axes as datum. So I'm going to select them both at once. Go to my dialog box. Fix those elements. Actually, no. You know what I want to do is coincident that. So cancel. I want to take this axis and this H and coincident those. I'm surprised that shifted. Let's take these elements and coincident those. Now if I change that, I'm just seeing if it looks like it's going to move okay. So I like that radius. I'm going to take this and I'm going to try and rotate it using offset, using this same center as my rotation. And we'll change that angle to 90. I hit enter. That's just like hitting OK. And what I'll do here is I'll highlight this whole thing and let it figure out what constraints are needed and see if AutoConstraints can't figure this out for me. So we go to AutoConstrain, reference those datums, stack dimension it, say OK. It's fully constrained. It came up with more. Oh. Okay, see all these dimensions? It didn't hold the tangencies. So let's hit undo to that. One thing the AutoConstraint should do is find tangencies first, but it appears as though it didn't. And it doesn't look like it is tangent, to be honest. So something happened here when I did this. Let me try and back out, because what I normally would do, I think it did shift when I didn't see it. It's not letting me undo. Dang it. I'm trying to undo this circle here. That got shifted when I removed the fix, and I didn't catch that. So sometimes I wish I could undo back there, before that got created, and it just, I'm hitting undo and it won't let me go back any further. So I'm just going to have to delete this. And what I'll do here is contact this H and this line, and that shifts it into place. Contact this, and that will lock it into place. And then I wouldn't even have to do the anchor thing because this is being held now at the center. I just wanted to show you could use anchors for like temporarily fixing things. So let's go show you another trick here. I'm going to go to radius and select this curve and select this curve, and I'll put in a radius of, I don't know, 5 inches. So you kind of come up here. Well, let's try, I'm going to hit tab so go into the tool palette, and I'll do 4 inches. The only problem with that is it trimmed everything else off, so I didn't want that. But that's basically your TTR technique there. I'm going to hit undo. So again, another way to do that was to use radius, grab these two elements, and come up with a curve. Now you have some options here. Trim all, trim first, no trim. So let's try no trim. Come up in here and let's tab, and let's go 4.5. And it didn't trim this, and it didn't trim that over there. Okay, so that's what the no trim would do. I'm going to hit undo. Control Y is a redo. Again, under trim, we'll trim both. Select this curve and this curve. And I'm going to hit the tool palette to go 4.5. Let's go 4 inches. And that's the difference there. It got removed. Okay. So I like under radius, you have no trim. And these are having construction lines on and off, and I don't want my construction lines, so I'll leave them off. I'll select here and here again for my radius, and then tab will go 4.5. Oh shoot, that's the one I wanted to keep and I screwed it up. Select here and here, and we're going to use no trim. If I put my tool palette over here, then I'll probably have better luck. I'm just going to tab and go 4 inches. Now when I take this curve and I do a rotate, let's try external link and see if that makes any difference. I don't think this is going to do much of anything. I'll show you what I was trying to get it to do. These tangents are not there. Okay? So when I auto-constrain it, auto-constraints should apply geometrical constraints first. It should recognize these are tangent. So when I highlight this whole thing and I do a auto-constrain and select, sorry, what am I doing? Auto-constrain and reference the two datums. Okay, and I like stack dimension. It just seems to work best for me. Oh, see, it didn't put in my tangencies. So I'm going to undo that. Okay, and what I'll do is force the tangent myself if it doesn't do it for you. Now, another thing you could try before you do that is quick trim. hit undo here. I'm going to show you a trim command. If I select trim and select this curve and I select this line, what happened was the curves start here at the 3 o'clock position and it wraps all the way around. So sometimes it's kind of weird how it does that. So what you can do is use your quick trim. I'm just going to grab each one of these, and it's going to put a construction curve on the outside, which is fine. Ooh. That's an issue there. Yep, this is not tangent, doesn't appear to be, because that shouldn't have happened if I'd done this right. Alright, so lesson learned on that. Let's just delete this thing here. I'm going to go to circle, and I'll put that flat to the screen. 2 inches out, create another circle. Half-inch radius, I went 6 inches out, and I went to offset, and we're going to offset 3 of these, and don't hit enter. Got to highlight the offset and hit half-inch. Okay, and then I rotated them. About this point, 90 degrees. Select OK. See how it did those dimensions? I'm going to hit undo and rotate. That's because I had external on. So I'm going to remove external, and then that way it'll only keep the internal holes dimensioned. Selecting here at this starting point, 90 degrees. Alright, I'm going to create my axes. Create my axis here. I'm going to show you creating a circle out here. Kind of move it close to place. Let's see what happens now if I go to contact these two elements. Make them tangent. See how it still shifted that? Because I'm going to hit undo here. God, that drives me nuts how it won't undo that step. Still shifted. That's amazing that that does not hit undo and go back one step there. So the lesson here is make sure to set your offsets or your datums before you move on here. Let's go 3.5. Rotate that about this center point. Okay, so I'm going to select this as my center point. What's going on here? Rotate. There's my center point. Oh, it's not going to let me grab my center point. There we go. And then I'll go to 90 degrees. Oh, did I not have this highlighted? rotate about this point 90 degrees. Okay, select your axes. Make sure it locks up to the center point, so you have to have that little blue dot come on, so it'll give you a coincident. And then coincident the horizontal to this axis. Coincident this vertical to this axis. What did I do? It says that line's coincident. This line should be coincident as well, so I'll select coincident and coincident this to this vertical line. They're green, so it tells me they're constrained. We'll do a radius this time. I'm just showing you there's multiple ways you can do this. I'm going to hit tab, go to 4 inches, tangent C set, take this, rotate this about that center point at 90 degrees. I don't see the tangencies show up. I'm going to highlight this whole thing. And when I go to AutoConstraint, reference the two elements I chained or datumed, stack it. Notice this time if you create it right, see what it'll do is it knows that those are tangent. And that's all good now. And then I can go to quick trim this up. Oops, double click quick trim this up. And there's your profile. All my profiles are closed. It's constrained. It's going to let me go make a solid. I'm going to my ISO view. And I'm going to go to model. Select multi-pad. No, yeah, multi-pad. Oh, Dave. Move this over here. Okay, I'll do that later. It's really hard to tell what's what because they just put all the text just jumbled up on top of each other. It's an act of God now to figure out what it is. You used to be able to click on one and it will highlight the one you're working on. The only thing I know to do now is to select a value. Let's go type in 1 and hit preview. Okay, so that's the main one on the outside. So that's what I guessed it would be. Number 2, let's type in 1.25. Hit preview. Okay, number 2 is the second one in there, and then this one here. Let's try 1.5 and see what happens. And hit preview. And I'm guessing that the last one in the inside can be 1.75. Preview that. Now I'm guessing the next one is going to be 125, 1.5, 175. So let's try 125, 150, 175. And before I get too far, I'm just going to preview, make sure it all looks like it's coming out right. And then I'm going to guess it's going to be another 3 holes. So let's try 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, preview that. I'm going to guess again because I can barely read anything in there. 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, preview that. And the last one, I'm going to make that 1.5 and hit preview. Okay, and there is your tricks on offsets in the sketch environment, the rotations in the sketch environment, and then multi-pad here. I'll select OK, and there's my part. Oh, let's come up with another color. I know what you guys are thinking. He's going for salmon. All right, I'm going to actually change it to a blue color. See if I can go for a lighter blue. It might be too bright for me. How about, oh, I just don't know what color I want to go with here. How about that color? Oh, this looks the same. Let's customize. Add that custom color. What? Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Select OK. All right, so there's this part here. Let's see if I can't now put it all together. I like to show you multiple things, multiple shots, and then how to get around things when they don't work as well, because I know I do a demo and everything works fine on my screen, and then you watch, then you try and do what you saw and it doesn't work. So let's just do it one more time. We got sketch, circle, I think I'm 2 inches out, another circle, ½ inch big, and then we went right to the offsets, and I type in 3, but I don't hit enter. I come over here and I do 0.5. With it highlighted, I'm going to use the control button and grab this one and then go right to rotate. Rotate about this center point. I'll drag this box over. We're going to use an angle of 90. It remembered 3, and I'm going to use internal links. Select OK. All right. Now the next step would be to go to axis. Go to axis, double click axis, and I'm going to make sure the blue dot shows up. And then this blue dot shows up. So I know I'm working to the coincidence, and it appears as though it's already locked out to the H. I don't know why the V didn't get locked. I'll hit escape, select this one, use my V, and hit the coincident or contact. I meant to hit contact. I can see they're green, so I know they're coincidence. Another thing you can do is double check the last thing I just did. That was that coincidence. If I go to this H and this, and I try and coincident that, it looks like it took it, and I don't see it purple. Okay, so now I'm sure that those axes are locked on where they're at, and I'm sure that the circles are locked to the ends of the axis. So if I were to create a circle, and then Well, that circle's not big enough, dang it. In order to do tangent, I would have to have a circle big enough to touch both. So it's got to be bigger than those two circles. If I do this, and go to the tangency, oh, that shouldn't have done that because I have a radius here. Yeah, that shouldn't be allowed to move. So I don't know why that did that. The other option would be to click on these two and fix them, and then go to, God, I hope I can do my undo button, and then go to you know, I've never even tried this. If I grab all three, can I go to the dialog box and hit tangent? Didn't like it. So it didn't even appear to do anything. I'm just going to grab this one and this one. And put tangent on that. Using the control button, I'll grab this one and this one. You'll notice that the circle didn't move because I've anchored them, so they for sure won't go nowhere. I tangent this one. Okay. And then I could rotate that around. If I click on this and hit delete, that will remove those, and I will remove these anchors and pretend like I didn't do any of that stuff. Okay. So I'm back at the point where I just created the circles and my axis, and this time I'm going to use corner with the no trim option. Grab this one and this one, put my cursor right about where I want that, and hit tab. Let's go 4 inches. Select this one and then do the rotate from this point 90 degrees. If these are tangent, when I highlight this and do the auto constrain, because it's not green, it has to be fully constrained, right? So I'm going to auto constrain this. I use my datums to work around and stack dimension it. See how I did it just perfect? I got all my tangencies, everything's all set. I'm ready to exit out, build my pad. Whoops. Let's go to the ISO view, go to module. Let's go to multi-pad. Let's just do this right for once. Move the sketch, turn multi-pad off, move the sketch to the part body where it belongs. Go into my multi-pad. Oh, I forgot to trim these. See these? This is what happens when you don't do your job and do your analysis check. Get off the multi-pad. Wonder how many of you guys are saying, Dave, you forgot this. Okay, I'm going to double click quick trim, remove these out. Remember, you have to select the two halves because there's a start and end point of the circle. It's not a round element. It starts and ends and it bends around from 0 to 360. So we got to remove that out. What I should have done is do an analysis and check to make sure I've got all closed profiles. I'd hit undo here. When I saw all these open things, that doesn't work. Now, what you can do sometimes is click on these and hit delete, but see, it removed a whole bunch of stuff. So that didn't work in that case. So you have to be careful. I'm going to hit undo to put that back. Close this off. Quick trim this out. Sometimes it's helpful to zoom up so you can see what you're doing. We're moving these out. Missed it. Go to analysis. Are all my profiles closed? You can click on each one. You can see which is which. In theory, each one of these circles should be the order of the multi-select. But this is going to be on the top. I already know that. So watch. We will exit out. Let's pop into the ISO view. Go to multi-pad. I'm going to use sketch 1. 1 inch on the top just to verify what's going on. And I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to go 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1.75. Preview that. What did I do wrong here? 1 1/4. Egads. Oh, see, now I got the inside one that time. So I don't. It just kind of depends on how you build it, which one is which. I took a gamble that it was going to get the right one. It didn't. This one here is 1.75. Preview that. This one here, I believe, is 1.25. Preview that. And this one here is 1.5. Preview that. So sometimes you don't know. It's hard unless you want to zoom in and try and figure out what's what going on over here. Again, it used to highlight which circle. When you click on that, it used to highlight the circle that you're on. I don't see it highlighting it now. It's like a wild guess. I'll type in 1 1/4 and hit preview. See, now it looks like the pattern is 1.75, 1.25, 1.5. Preview that. Again, my pattern goes 1.2, 1.75, 1.25, 1.5. Preview that. That's why I key in a few and hit preview, because you type them all in and hit preview, only God knows what you're going to get. So 1.75, 1.25, 1.5. Preview that. Oh, I did it in the wrong order apparently. This, oh gosh, which one was this? Let's go back to 0. Preview that. Preview that. Okay. So now this one is 1.25. Preview that. 1.5. Preview that. 1.25 and 1.5. Preview that. Oh, what the heck. This one's got to be 1.75. Preview that. All right, there's your part. So that's how you create this solid.